Going on, guys? Torn Vega here, and welcome to Dragon Age. Welcome back to Dragon Age Inquisition. Last we left off, we completed the Falomar, and I wasn't in the best of moods during the recording because the person in the chat, they're a dickhead. We've come through to these thoughts. So what are we actually going to go do today? Oh, and I've also bought Trespasser and the Descent today as well, so that'll put us in some nice shape. But first of all, we're going to do what we haven't done yet, and that's go talk to all the companions. So we're just going to start off down here. I love how you don't take damage from that, because you're in your own fucking base. Ways you can do. Parkour. 75 experience. Buy and sell. Let's get rid of that stuff. Oh yeah, and I've got to talk to Blackwall about the warden stuff I found there as well.
This is just... it's something to keep their hands busy. You were quite the outlaw, I hear. The Carter. You must have some past.
How'd you know?
Who told you that?
No one had to tell me. It's amazing the things you learn waiting for someone to crack a keg. Or while sparring, or just walking past the barracks. The men do enjoy their idle talk.
I didn't have a choice.
It was the only way to survive for someone like me.
I'm not judging. I know what it's like to be so desperate. I don't care who you were. I know who you are now. And that's the person I signed on for. You are who you choose to follow. Someone told me that once. Took me years to understand what he meant.
Wise words.
There's wisdom in that.
It was a chevalier who said those words to me. A powerful man, but never without honor. A true knight. We met as competitors in the Grand Tourney. He left me with that advice before we parted. Put aside his own ambitions to help me win the melee. I don't think I ever thanked him.
Grand Tourney?
What is this Grand Tourney?
You've never heard of it? The Grand Tourney of the Free Marches. It's a spectacle. Song, dance, wine, every amusement you can imagine. But the greatest part is the contest of arms. Prove yourself in the Grand Tourney, and you can make your fortune.
What happened?
How did he help you?
There were 100 men on the field, each one fighting for himself. The knight and I had forged an alliance. It was just the two of us, and we took all comers. The goal, down as many opponents as possible. He always let me deliver the final blow.
A generous act.
It was generous of him.
He said I stood to gain everything, while he'd lose nothing. When it was over, he offered to mentor me, to teach me to become a chevalier like him. And I, young and stupid, turned him down flat. I just won the melee at the Grand Tourney. I didn't need him. I should have gone with him. Perhaps things could have been different.
It all turned out.
You're here now. A Grey Warden. It worked out.
I suppose it did, didn't it? But I'm older, hopefully wiser. And I think I've chosen the right person to walk with.
Blackwall.
Heard you found something that had to do with wardens. Would have liked to have seen it.
Thoughts on the Inquisition?
What do you think of the Inquisition?
If we mobilized all the Inquisition's forces, Thedas itself would shake beneath our feet.
Thoughts on my advisors?
What do you think of my advisors?
Liliana seems nice. Also a little frightening, but mostly nice.
You're afraid of her?
Does Liliana frighten you? Has she said anything to you?
No, she hasn't said anything. I'd just rather not offend her. I don't want to wake up with a blade in my kidneys if I can help it.
Right, that's enough talk.
We should...
We're Blackwall.
As you wish. You are, after all, in charge.
Yeah. Talk to him a bit. Alright, let's see. Who's next to talk to? Bull, Sarah, Cole, Cassandra, Cullen. Jesus Christ. Vivian, Solus, Dorian, Liliana, Josephine.
Not so standard. That'll guide the dragon right in. The spiderwebs help stop the bleeding, and they prevent wounds from getting infected. Gather as many as you can.
Cassandra.
Hello again.
Let's talk about the Chantry.
May I ask you about the Chantry?
It is difficult to say what becomes of the Chantry now. They have no Templars, no leadership, and no one left who is worthy of succeeding the Divine. It has fallen apart when everyone needs it the most. I ache to think what this will mean in the days to come.
Should the Chantry be saved?
Do you really believe the Chantry is worth preserving?
I do. But given your beliefs, I'd hardly be surprised if you disagreed. Cast the Chantry aside and new problems replace old ones. We will have learned nothing from history. The people need stability, and the Chantry needs a new purpose. Andraste had a dream for us. It can still be achieved.
Will there be a new Divine?
Will the Chantry replace Divine Justinia?
They will try. Once the priests withdraw for the Grand Consensus, it is against Chantry law for them to emerge without naming a new Divine. Sometimes it takes days, or weeks, or even months. The problem now is that no clear successor to Justinia exists. All worthy clerics died with her at the Conclave.
What if they don't agree?
So what happens if they can't agree on someone?
Theoretically, they will argue until exhaustion takes them or they see reason. Practically, however, if the Grand Consensus goes on too long, the Chantry will crumble. Any cleric with ambition but little sense will see this as her one chance, and plenty of such clerics exist. We shall see what happens. The Inquisition must act in the meantime.
Would you serve a new Divine?
If they do choose a new Divine, will you serve her?
That depends on whether she would have me. I am a rebel now, remember? And even if she would, I do not know. It would depend on what type of Divine she is. I am no longer in a position to follow blindly, and no new Divine could expect such obedience now.
Should the No, I gotta stop. Why did you leave the Chantry?
I'm surprised you rebelled against the Chantry.
I left my own order when they took the wrong path. It is no different. But in neither case did I stop caring. Indeed, I care so much that I feel drastic action is necessary. I suppose history shall one day judge my actions.
That's all for now. Oy vey. Read, there we go, don't really care about this, 75 quick experience. Let's see, Open the door. Examine.
Oh,
Of course. I hope I can help somehow.
Cram.
Maybe.
Inquisitor. That's got a good ring to it. We're happy to be here, your worship. You need anything, let me know.
How can we use you?
Iron Bull said the chargers were at my disposal. Do you have any suggestions on how to use them?
I suspect Haven's quiet by now. Might be worth sending the boys back. We could recover some supplies, get an idea about the enemy's strength. We could even pick up any stragglers who haven't found Skyhold yet.
Goodbye. There you go, Scout Haven ruins. Iron Ball.
What's going on?
Just the gate. Tell me about the Ben Hasrath.
I'd like to know more about your work with the Ben Hasrath.
Ben Hasrath is actually a general term. You've got the secret police who investigate problems inside our territory. You've got the re-educators who take people with problems and fix their minds. Or make them disappear. And then you've got the spies.
Re-educators.
How do the re-educators work?
I only know the basics. Wasn't my area. That said, keep a man awake long enough. Ask the right questions, give the right potions, and you can get him to say anything. You don't need blood magic or demons to change someone's mind. We're a lot more fragile than we'd like to believe.
Is it really that easy?
You can alter someone's beliefs that easily?
One of my friends was a re-educator. He said that every memory is like the page of a book. When you examine a memory, you're turning to that page, and when you're there, the page is laid bare. Write a few notes in the margins of the page, erase a word here and there, and your whole outlook changes. I always felt a little weird reading after that conversation.
That's revolting.
The re-educators sound horrible.
Yeah, they probably do. Here's the thing, though. What happens in Orlais when you commit a crime or betray a lord? They just lop your head off. At least the Qunari try to fix you.
Your job is spying.
And you're a spy?
Close. I am now, I suppose. But that's not how I started. They sent me to Saharan because they needed someone who could fight and hunt down problems. That whole island was a sack of cats. Incursions from Tevinter, Tal Vashath, and native rebels fighting both sides. And in the middle, me, trying to wrangle the rebels and restore order.
Sounds impossible.
How'd that work out for you?
About as well as you'd expect. I hunted down a lot of rebels. Lost a lot of friends to the Vince, or the Fog Warriors, or the Tal Vashath. One day I woke up and couldn't think of a damned reason to keep doing my job. Turned myself into the re-educators.
That was brave.
Not many people would have the courage to do that.
I thought about letting some rebel kill me, but I couldn't give any of those bastards the satisfaction. The Ben Hasrath ordered me to go to Orlais, ostensibly as a Tal Vashath, and work undercover. That's how I ended up here.
Interesting story.
Thanks for the information, Bull.
No problem, boss. Anyway, nice talking with you.
You too, Bull. You too. Right.
You've heard?
Of she who stands behind the throne.
I perhaps cast a
Cole.
shadow across it. I see.
He hates it all because of the darkness behind the door. Some doors should stay shut.
You've done odd things.
I've heard about some oddities here in the keep. Was that you?
Yes. Maybe. What was it?
You burn turnips.
Can I assume you're responsible for the turnips that have shown up in the fireplaces?
They don't smell the same raw.
They smell like turnip stew.
You needed that soldier to smell them, so he could die thinking he'd gone home.
He did go home.
You left the plums by the
Someone's
window.
leaving peeled plums on the windowsill. It's attracting flies.
Spiders need to eat.
And spider webs help healers.
And healers need something to treat infected wounds, like spider webs.
The plums are already dead. They don't mind helping.
Thank you, Cole.
Probably.
That was informational, to be honest. If you're honest, that's actually really smart thinking. Plums on the window draw flies. There's flies draw spiders to eat. The spiders eat, they can produce spider webs. Spider webs can help treat infected wounds. That's that's actually extremely intelligent. If I think about it. That's... wow, God, fuck's sake.
Strangest thing, when I reached down, my dagger was gone. Just gone. Know where I found it? In a barrel. The thing was filled to the brim with daggers. Got the strangest feeling. I know someone took it right off my belt, but I can't recall who.
You three are my trainers, I think. I know that. Colin. My friend.
Inquisitor, I've found where the Red Templars come from. Therenfall Redoubt. The Knights were fed red lyrium until they turned into monsters. Samson took over after their corruption was complete.
How do you know Samson?
He was a Templar in Kirkwall, until he was expelled from the Order. I knew he was an addict, but this... Red lyrium is nothing like the lyrium given by the Chantry. Its power comes with a terrible madness.
I believe you.
The Red Templars swarming Haven were proof enough.
We cannot allow them to gain strength. The Red Templars still require lyrium. If we find their source, we can weaken them and their leader.
You want vengeance?
Are you angrier at Corypheus or Samson?
I don't know. Samson at least should know better. Caravans of red lyrium are being smuggled along trade roads. Investigating them could lead to where it's being mined. If you confront them, be wary. Anything connected to Samson will be well guarded.
Okay. Colin.
As leader of the Inquisition, there's something I must tell you.
You can tell me anything.
Whatever it is, I'm willing to listen.
Right. Thank you. Lyrium grants Templars our abilities, but it controls us as well. Those cut off suffer. Some go mad, others die. We have secured a reliable source of lyrium for the Templars here. But I no longer take it.
You stopped?
When I joined the Inquisition. It's been months now.
But why?
Why are you doing this?
After what happened in Kirkwall, I couldn't. I will not be bound to the Order, or that life any longer. Whatever the suffering, I accept it. But I would not put the Inquisition at risk. I've asked Cassandra to watch me. If my ability to lead is compromised, I will be relieved from duty.
I'll trust Cassandra.
Cassandra takes things as seriously as you do. If she has no problem with this, neither do I.
I thought you had a right to know. The Inquisition's army must always take priority. Should anything happen, I will defer to Cassandra's judgment.
Colin.
Inquisitor?
Anything I should know?
Is there anything I should know?
I'm glad to have the charges on our side. Bull's men are professionals, despite evidence to the contrary.
Alright. Investigate. Tell me more about Samson.
You and the Red Templars' leader seem to have personal history.
When I arrived in Kirkwall, Samson and I shared quarters. He seemed a decent man at first. Knight Commander Meredith later expelled Samson for erratic behavior. He ended up begging on Kirkwall streets. He committed further crimes, but managed to evade the Order's justice. Now Samson serves Corypheus as his loyal general.
Give me a second, guys. Why would he serve Corypheus?
Why do you think Samson joined Corypheus?
He had a chronic lyrium addiction. He spent every last coin buying it from local smugglers. Perhaps Corypheus flattered his vanity, gave him purpose as well as lyrium. Perhaps that's all it took.
I almost pity Samson.
It sounds like Samson had a miserable life.
The Order expelled him, but he had choices. He could have found another path. I don't understand how he became so powerful. Even with red lyrium, Samson's glory days are long behind him.
I see. Right, this way. Salus.
Inquisitor.
Investigate. Tell me about the Fade.
What do you know about the Fade?
A great deal, from my wanderings. There are few hard facts, but I can share what I have learned.
Investigate. Tell me about the Breach.
I'd like to know more about the Breach.
Simply put, it is a tear in the veil between this world and the Fade, allowing spirits to enter the world physically. Small tears occur naturally when magic weakens the veil, or when spirits cluster at an area that has seen many deaths. But your anchor, as Corypheus calls it, allows you some control over the breach. That suggests it was deliberate.
That's it. Tell me about the Veil.
I'd like to know more about the Veil.
Circle mages call it a barrier between this world and the Fade. But according to my studies in ancient elven lore, that is a vast oversimplification. Without it, imagine if spirits entered freely. The Fade was not a place one went, but a state of nature like the wind.
Now that sounds marvelous.
It sounds like it would be wonderful.
And dangerous. But yes, a world where imagination defines reality. Where spirits are as common as trees or grass. Instead, spirits are strange and fearful. And the Fade is a terrifying world touched only by mages and dreamers. I am glad that I'm not alone in seeing the beauty of such a world, along with the obvious peril.
Tell me about demons.
I'd like to know more about demons.
The Chantry says that demons hate the natural world and seek to bring their chaos and destruction to the living. But such simplistic labels misconstrue their motivations, and in so doing, do all a great disservice. Spirits wish to join the living, and a demon is that wish gone wrong.
Can we change that?
Is there a way to coexist? To live with them, if not in peace, at least without such active confrontation?
Not in the world we know today. The veil creates a barrier that makes true understanding most unlikely. But the question is a good one, and it matters that you thought to ask.
Goodbye.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
At least we're getting some chats in with some of the party members, because then at least we're not strangers to each other. And we all get along very well. Dorian.
I'm told you have Alexius researching magic for you. Research is always what made him happiest. Perhaps I'll even go talk to him eventually. One word of advice. If he suggests altering time as a way to solve all your problems, give it a pass.
Investigate. Tell me about yourself.
It occurs to me that I barely know anything about you.
Beyond my being a mage from Tevinter, you mean?
Beyond that, yes.
And beyond my being so charming and well-dressed, which is obvious to anyone.
I hadn't noticed.
Some more than others.
Some people have superior taste. Now, what was I talking about? Ah, yes, me. I am the scion of House Parvis, a product of generations of careful breeding and the repository of its hopes and dreams. Naturally, I despised it all. The lies, the scheming, the illusions of supremacy. That's Tevinter in a nutshell, isn't it? Needless to say, my family was not happy with my choices.
Your family is angry with you.
Why would your family be upset with your choices?
Because I rejected their idyllic plan. If they had their way, by now I'd be married to some unlucky girl from a powerful family. We'd live in luxurious despair, despising each other as I waited to take my father's place in the magisterium. I declined the honor, and thus it's best I'm far from home. Less of an embarrassment that way, you see?
You don't like Tevinter.
I'm getting the impression you don't care much for your homeland.
On the contrary, I care for my homeland a great deal. There's so much potential. Sadly, we squander it. We refuse to acknowledge how far we've fallen because pretending is easier. We pretend the Qunari can be beaten. We pretend that we're superior to everyone, even our own people. Not everyone feels that way. I don't. Sadly, we're the minority.
But why do you care?
It just seems so much of what you say about the Imperium is entirely negative.
It might sound that way. For all our faults, my people have many virtues. We are laden with history and culture. Tevinter is where Thedas truly began, remember? We treasure our past and preserve it. You can walk down a side street and find nothing built during the modern ages. And despite appearances, we care. Deeply. About everything. We have no reserve, not in war and not in love. If I truly believed my homeland was beyond all hope, I wouldn't miss it so much.
Careful breeding.
What did you mean by generations of careful breeding?
The great families of Tevinter don't have children. They refine traits, weed out the undesirable, and promote the rest. My mother was chosen for my father because magic runs strongly in her blood. Never mind that they loathed each other. They wanted a son who could become Archon to make House Parvis the envy of the Imperium. They got me. A cautionary tale that you should be careful what you wish for.
Why not go back?
Why remain with the Inquisition? Why not go back to Tevinter?
I'm not exactly welcome back home. Not that it matters. I'm quite accustomed to being a pariah. It adds to my charm. I can do more for Tevinter here. If the Venatori succeed, it'll set my homeland back 1,000 years. I'm sure some magisters would disagree, but that's why we kill them.
That's enough for now.
I think I've heard enough.
That's too bad. I never tire of talking about myself.
That's enough.
As you wish.
Fiona.
Greetings, Inquisitor. That is your title now, yes? I admit, I was worried what being conscripted into the Inquisition would mean, but it's not as bad as I feared. We survived the attack on Haven, and this fortress is secure. It's more than most of us have known for a long time.
And there's more to come.
Don't get comfortable. There's more on the way.
Fair enough. I've been a Grey Warden, Grand Enchanter, leader of a rebellion, and now I am none of those things. Odd where fate takes you, as you're no doubt well aware.
Everything is well?
I trust everything is well with the mages?
There have been a few scuffles with your Templars, but overall it is going well.
Carry on.
It's just that I knew his father, Marek, back when I was a warden.
I can introduce you.
You want me to smooth things over with him? Introduce you?
What's Alistair?
No, it's too late for that. I only wanted to know if he was happy. His father had such hopes for him. Don't mind me, Inquisitor. The concerns of an old woman. Nothing more.
Okay. Talk about Alistair. Read. Last night's stairs. Liliana.
I'm listening.
You missed Justinia.
The Divine's death hit you hard. How have you been feeling?
Oh, you are referring to my outburst in the Haven. I am much better now. Justinia was such a dear friend, and there were so many things going wrong.
Tell me about it.
Sometimes it's best to talk these things out.
I was there when the hero Ferelden defeated the Archdemon. We won the day, and I thought the Maker smiled on me. When the Divine requested my help, I went to her. I owed her that much. I sacrificed so much to do the Maker's work. But now, Justinia is dead. I was angry. I felt betrayed. But I shouldn't have let my emotions get the better of me. I'm sorry.
You don't need to apologize.
Don't apologize. You're grieving and upset. I understand.
Thank you. Now enough of this. Let us think more pleasant thoughts.
Carry on. Put that. Alright, let's jump down. Two more people to speak to, then I'm going to cut the video off.
Your worship.
Vivian and Josephine. And we've done the talking episode at least, right? Vivian.
Yes?
Investigate. Hey, tell me about the circle.
I wanted to ask you about the Circle of Magi.
Of course. What do you wish to know?
Okay. Tell me about the Templars.
You must have an opinion of the Templars after living so long in the Circle.
Having opinions about Templars, my dear, is exactly like having opinions about mages or Navarrans or men. I have known some who were impossible to endure and some who were utterly charming. I have suffered insults at the hands of those in the armor, but no more than I endured from nobles or tradesmen in Val-Royal. Personally, I have found the Templars a useful tool, skilled at keeping more unpleasant elements at bay.
Yes. Wasn't the circle disbanded?
If the Circle disbanded, how can you still belong to it?
The circle is an idea, my dear, and an idea cannot be dissolved. Many of the first enchanters voted for rebellion, caring little that anything short of a unanimous decision would pit mage against mage. Rather than dissolving it, Grand Enchanter Fiona's vote split the circle in two. The rebels follow her, the loyalists follow me.
Shouldn't you replace Fiona?
If you lead all the loyalists, why are you only First Enchanter and not Grand Enchanter?
Grand Enchanters are elected, and since there are no First Enchanters besides myself, no vote can be held. I could name myself Grand Enchanter, but the title holds no meaning now. When the circles are restored, that will change.
What was Circle Life like?
What was it like to live in a circle?
My dear, your question is the root of all problems with mages. I cannot tell you. Every circle was different. Their Templars were different, their politics unique. And every person within each tower had an experience of circle life unique to themselves. Some people suffered and some were content. Some were cruel, some compassionate, and some indifferent. The same is true of people everywhere, in all circumstances, whether they are mages or not.
Investigate. What about your experience?
So, tell me about your personal experience with the circle.
I enjoyed life in the Montsimard Circle, my dear. It was an edifice devoted to knowledge and refinement. And mages need the company of other mages. No one else can truly understand the challenges we face, nor see the world as we do.
Was confinement hard?
You must have been under constant supervision being forced by Templars to live in the tower. Was that hard to endure?
My dear, I have a suite in the palace and a wing at my dear Duke Bastien's estate. I've never been forced to live anywhere. Most circles allowed mages to live away from the tower, either on their own or in service to the nobility. All that was required was permission from the First Enchanter. Some circles were harsher in their restrictions. Kirkwall was the worst, but it was the exception. Most were quite permissive, perhaps too permissive in retrospect.
How did the rebellion start?
How did we come to this state where the circle's in revolt?
A failure of perspective that infected circle leadership. Mages lived solely in a world of Templars and mages. They could not even imagine what was beyond the tower walls. Kirkwall gave the world a reason to remember its fear of magic. A mage killed hundreds with a snap of their fingers. Across Thedas, a new tangible fear of magic grew. Commoners and nobles alike called out to the Chantry for protection. But the malcontents in the towers thought nothing of this. They cared only for themselves and for their anger at the new Templar restrictions. When a mage attempted to assassinate Divine Justinia, again, the mages protested the investigation. The leadership chose to vote on independence based on the intolerable conditions imposed by the Templars, sparing no thought to the fact that magic was more feared in the aftermath of these attacks than it had been since Tevinter's day. So long as they had their freedom, they could care little for riots, angry mobs, or about pitting mages against each other.
Do you know Fiona?
Are you familiar with Grand Enchanter Fiona?
We've met. Before her horrendously ill-timed and selfish vote for independence, I thought her adequate at her job. In her dotage, she could not handle looking after the well-being of so many people. We would have done better to replace her years ago, to let her spend time gardening.
Were they justified?
Did they have cause to rebel?
In the aftermath of their terrorist attacks? Was that really the most opportune time to break away? By all means, protest abuses by the Templars. Just don't do it in a way that says mages support wholesale murder. By voting when they did, my colleagues all but declared war upon the ordinary people of Thedas. A war in which we are outnumbered 100 to 1.
I thought the fighting was only between mages and Templars. Why are mages fighting mages?
The vote for independence was carried by only a small margin, but Fiona chose to let the motion stand. Those who opposed a rash declaration of war against the entire free world had little choice. By breaking from the Chantry when they did, the rebels declared themselves in support of mass murder. Anyone who did not wish to support terrorism and the slaughter of innocents was forced to take arms against the rebels.
Never mind. Read. Okay, I'll quickly speak to Josephine. And oh, there's fucking Varric as well. You know what, I'm cutting the video off here and I'll continue next time. So as always, hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys. Bye.